You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. This show is made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons. If you'd like to see the show continue, consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media. And thank you for your support.
Saturday Morning Theater proudly presents The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician! Young Toby Taylor is known worldwide as the Fruit Magician, a master illusionist who can perform feats of astonishing prestidigitation. Toby Taylor eschews the traditional tools of the trade, such as playing cards, rabbits, blinking rings, preferring to use only the freshest of fruit in his act. Toby has another talent as well, solving mysteries. With his lovely assistant and devoted sister Rebecca Taylor at his side, there is no mystery that can't be cracked by Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician! Today's episode, The Prize Potato Caper, Chapter 2. In our last episode, Toby and Rebecca had traveled to Idaho Falls, Idaho, to perform at the Bonneville County Fair. Shortly after arriving, however, they found themselves knee-deep in another mysterious mystery as the prized potato of farmer Mr. Mowrey, the one who was odds-on favorite to win this year's blue ribbon, had gone missing.
Oh, Toby and Rebecca, you certainly don't have to bother yourselves with this matter. Please, you're our guests.
Nonsense, Mrs. Jamison. I love a good mystery, and I love solving them even more.
Yeah, and oddly enough, mysteries just seem to pop up wherever we go.
Well, here's the table, Mr. Mowrey.
Yes, and you see right there by that name card? That's where my potato was this very morning, and now it's gone.
Well, it certainly is not there now.
I'm holding you personally responsible, Jamison. Why, I think you should cancel the whole competition. At 10 o'clock this morning, I had a 19-pound potato sitting right there that would have taken the blue ribbon for certain. And now, someone's absconded with it.
19 pounds? That's one big spot.
Sure is, and it would be exceedingly difficult for someone to just come up and whisk away a 19-pound potato. That would take some doing.
Well, someone did that doing, and now I'm out my prized potato.
All right, calm down, Mr. Mowrey. Let's see if the guard has any information. Mr. Packard? Oh, Mr. Packard.
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Jamison?
Mr. Packard, you've been guarding this table all day, right?
Yes, ma'am, since achoo!
Gesundheit. Say, that's some violent sneeze you got there. Almost knocked you off your feet.
Yeah, I'm a little allergic to hay.
That can't be fun at a county fair.
You've been here since when, Mr. Packard?
I started at 9 this morning.
And when you started, was Mr. Mowrey's potato on the table?
Well, I believe so, ma'am.
And you aren't aware of anyone taking it?
Oh, no, ma'am. Can't quite say when it went missing. I was here the whole day.
Likely story. You did something with my potato, and I want to know what it is.
Now, Mr. Mowrey, I understand that you're upset about the loss of your potato, but you just can't blame people randomly.
Nothing random about it. This lunkhead was supposed to be standing here guarding the table, and my potato went missing. I'd say he's a pretty good person to blame.
Mr. Mowrey, what kind of motive would Mr. Packard here have to take your prized potato?
I don't know. What kind of motive would you have, Mr. Packard?
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I have no... Excuse me, I have no reason to take it.
Those are some seriously strong sinuses.
Oh, you're telling me. Now, I'm not saying we rule out Mr. Packard completely as a suspect, as he was the closest to the tuber at the time of the theft. However, I think we should explore other possible suspects.
Other possible suspects? Like who?
Who else could have a motive to get Mr. Mowrey's potato out of the competition?
Fenton Lomax.
Fenton Lomax? Who's that?
Well, every year that Mr. Mowrey has taken the blue ribbon with his potatoes, Fenton Lomax has placed first runner-up.
Well, I think we've just solved this little crime. Fenton Lomax took my potato.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Mowrey. You can't just go accusing this Mr. Lomax at the drop of a hat.
Oh, can't I? Lomax has been sore at me for years, and he'd like nothing better than to see my prized potatoes out of this competition for good.
Be that as it may, we need to prove he took your potato before we accuse him.
Mrs. Jamison, when we do prove he's the thief, I hope you'll disqualify him immediately from the competition.
If it comes to pass that Fenton has indeed absconded with your potato, we will take appropriate action.
And where can we find this Mr. Lomax?
He'll be over at the... No, wait, here comes that weasel right now. Well, if it isn't Fenton Lomax.
Mowrey, Mrs. Jamison, everybody, hello!
Enough with the hellos. Where is it?
Where is what?
You know darn well what. My potato.
I'm certain I have no idea.
Stop playing dumb, Lomax. I know you did something to my potato, and I want to know what.
Mr. Mowrey, please. Fenton, Mr. Mowrey's potato has gone missing, and Mr. Taylor and his sister are trying to track down where it might have gone.
Well, don't look at me. I didn't do anything with it.
Likely story.
But it's true. I've only just returned from my farm. I dropped off my potato early in the morning and then had to run back to the farm.
Prove it.
Well, Mr. Packard, you saw me this morning when I dropped off my potato, correct?
Yes, sir, you did it first thing.
And what did I tell you after I dropped it off?
Yeah, you said you had to go back to your farm because...
Gesundheit.
Thank you. You said you had to go back to your farm because one of your cows was giving birth.
There. You see? I was at my farm all day, and I have a day-old calf at the farm to prove it as well. Mr. Jamison, I have no reason to take your potato.
Except the blue ribbon.
Wouldn't stoop to cheating.
Well, let's, for the sake of argument, believe Mr. Lomax is telling the truth. If he didn't take it, and Mr. Packard didn't see anyone take it, where could it have gone?
Well, it couldn't have just disappeared into thin air.
No, it couldn't.
This is becoming a rather mysterious mystery, Toby.
Sure is, sis.
Will Toby be able to figure out what happened to Mr. Mowrey's potato? Find out in the next episode of The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, Fruit Magician!
This episode of The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician, starred Vanessa Whitney as Mrs. Jamison, Dan Garza as Mr. Mowrey, Chris Sheets as Mr. Packard, Clinton Alvord as Fenton Lomax, Molly Fite as Rebecca Taylor, Grant Baciocco as Toby Taylor, and Kevin Berntson as the narrator. Sound design by Christopher Green of Green Streams Studio. Find out more at greenstreamstudio.ca. Music for this episode by Dan Ring. The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician is a production of Saturday Morning Media and is made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Huge thanks to Shay Stewart, Bern Lafferty, Jeff Peterson, Del Gadania, Stephen Stavert, Jackie Climo, Melissa Crawford, Dave Slesher of the Evil Genius Chronicles, Mike Coughlin, Dorothy Baciocco, John D., Kathy Crawford, Brian Greer, Carrie Whitney, Chuck Tomasi from the Technorama Podcast, Chris Foster, Stephen Ing, Clinton of ComedyForecast.com, Vicky DeVries, Mike Wabshaw, Twitter user Butts and Gear, a.k.a. Wildcat, Eve Cunning, Mike Hamilton, Gaston Morino, Reed Loveland, Ivan Asquith, Vanessa Whitney, Janine Lee, Peggy Etra, Kristen Hogan of Squid Friends, David Akers, Zoe Palladino, Ellen Multari, Christopher Harris, Rachel Jackson of Vox Fabuli Puppets, Carolyn Weisner, John Petty, Rachel Hansen, and Darcy Prevost. If you'd like to support this show and the other fun content from Saturday Morning Media, become a patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly donation today. You can also tell a friend about the show or leave the show a review in the iTunes Apple Podcast directory. And while you're there, be sure to click that subscribe button. That way you'll get new episodes the moment they are released. Thank you so much for listening. The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician, is copyright 2017 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco, executive producer, all rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com. You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.